The military and CIA copied the Nazi methodology and began numerous programs of their own. The first CIA program was known as MKUltra.
I'm here to tell you about trauma-based total mind control. This is a type of mind control which turns the victim into a puppet, a slave. This is a type of mind control which is so horrendous that it dehumanizes a person to be a robot, an expendable piece of machinery that they can throw away. And the problem is that this mind control is essentially totally undetectable.
What did you do to my Pietre?
How much can you take?
According to MKUltra documents and sources, the methodology of mind control works best when severe trauma is administered by the age of 3 years old.
How much can you take?
So what they do is they compartmentalize the mind. They take a small child and they just traumatize the heck out of it and split the mind and build all these amnesia walls between all these traumas. The worse the trauma, the better, because the better the trauma wall. So the most horrendous traumas you can possibly imagine are the ones that they want to use.
I was amazed that a person so young would have the self-control that he had. It was almost as if he had anticipated the situation. It was almost as if he had been rehearsed or programmed to meet the situation that he found himself in. It was almost as if he anticipated every question, every suggestion, every move that any of the people in charge of him made.
Rehearsed by whom?
Who knows?
Have anything to say in your defense? Oswald has been shot.
After 15 years of analyzing the evidence and interviewing experts and witnesses, the only logical conclusion in this case, from my mind, is that Sirhan was a programmed assassin, programmed to show up shooting at Robert Kennedy, and programmed not to remember.
I started searching for coffee. That was all what I wanted to do. And I found some.
In the kitchen area?
But where, I don't remember, sir.
In a kitchen-type room?
I don't remember where I saw it, but I remember getting the cup. It was a shining...
Larger?
Urn. And there was a girl there. No, I don't remember much what happened after that.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Do you remember anything?
Other than the choking and the commotion.
The programmer will use hypnosis and triggers to call forth the created personality, known as an alter personality. Only 20% of the general population is easily hypnotizable, but trauma at an early age makes people vulnerable to dissociation and thus easily hypnotizable. Typically, the programmer might wear a costume, such as a rabbit suit, and sacrifice a rabbit in front of the child victims before they are physically traumatized. The image of the rabbit, a phrase from Alice in Wonderland, or similar paired images are used as the triggers to call forth the alter personality. The method works best when the trauma is repeated around 6 years of age. A few years later, the child victim's IQ test and personality test are evaluated to determine whether the child may be trained in assassination, sexual blackmail, drug courier, or other role. The subject can be hypnotized and used for operations, but we would only be consciously aware of the sense of lost time.
A psychiatrist reported that Sirhan nearly choked as he relived being strangled, just as in his actual capture.
You could train them to use firearms indiscriminately. You could train them to shoot people with very little feeling or thought. You could train them to use abusive and brutalizing procedures in order to obtain information with no hesitancy, with no concern.
Let's say they take one piece and they show it films, and through the programming they make it into a particular personality. Well, what they want to do is they want to make the most perfect front for their slave possible. And so they will test a slave, they will test a victim that they're going to make into a mind-controlled puppet. They'll test them when they're a small child. And I go into the techniques in the book as to how they can test as to what your abilities are. They use EKG tests, and they know how to determine what your abilities are as a small child as to when you would grow up. So they plan out your they plan out your life ahead of time. They say, this one will be a doctor, this one will be a lawyer, this one will be a scientist working on rockets, this one will be this one will be that, okay? And depending on what they're wanting you for will determine the type of programming they give you. So it's very systematic, and because the movers and shakers of the world have all of the resources, basically, they can move these people into whatever field they decide for them, so they become the top of their field. Now, their front personalities are very legitimate, sincere people. They don't know about the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde effect.